All right. Welcome everyone. My name is Shannon Miller, and for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm the CEO of Clean Freaks University, where I teach others how to run the back end of their cleaning business instead of being run over by their cleaning business. And this is the fourth quarter roundtable. I'm super excited because I always get really fun questions. And we were talking about whether I was going to do it next year. So that's still on the fence. I'm going to try to work it in because I have some really big projects I'm working on. And basically we can just, since it's a small group, unless it gets larger, we'll allow 2 questions at a time. And then we'll just kind of rotate. And then I can answer any questions pertaining to cleaning. If you have a relationship question, a tax or real estate question, or any of the legal entity questions, I can give you generalizations, but I am not the expert. And I have been encouraged to start stating these things by my attorney so that someone doesn't go, you said. So, and for those of you who don't know, Casey is actually an admin for the other group, and it is called, I'm trying to remember, Sort of House Cleaning Business. Yep. And Casey, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself? We can just go around and give some generalities for sure.
Morning, I'm Casey Fligo. I own a cleaning business up here in Portland, Oregon. And like Shannon mentioned, I run one of the Facebook groups.
Awesome. And what is the name of that Facebook group in case they're interested?
Starting a house cleaning business.
There we go. Thank you. I haven't had quite enough coffee. Jamie, why don't you do a quick shout out to what you do and where you're at?
Hey, so I'm Jamie, moderator over at the Maids Network. I am in Humboldt County, California. So me and Casey are neighbors. And Shannon Miller has coached me into everything. And I'm becoming successful. And it's weird to me. So here I sit at the round table with you guys.
Awesome. Alexandra, why don't you tell us what you do?
I provide commercial and residential services in Oklahoma. I bumped my head quite a few times, but I'm definitely learning. If I would have listened from the beginning, I probably would have had an easier road. We're getting there.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions? I'm answering this question through Messenger. Who's like, I don't know if I want to come. I'm like, okay.
They always do that, huh?
I do have a question.
Shoot.
So with I don't really have an official logo. I just have the avatar animated character. Do you think that is that really a bad thing, or does it make me come off less professional?
I think we're just in interesting times right now. In the past, if you had a cartoon character, it could go either way. I've seen plumbers have cartoon characters. As long as your avatar doesn't infringe on someone else's copyright, I don't see any harm in it. You could build your brand entirely around the avatar, or you can just have, because ultimately you guys hear me preach it all the time. The whole point of creating a cleaning business is either to leave as a legacy for your family or to sell. It's, not to work as a cleaner for 50 years and then go, I can't do this anymore, right? So you have to start to pre-plan for the eventuality that you're going to build this huge company and then you're going to sell it like I did, right? And part of that is like, maybe you rebrand at some point where it's not Alexandria's Cleaning, maybe it's, whatever area you live in cleaning services, or maybe it is Alexandria's Cleaning. It's, you always look at like Angie's List. Angie's List did a really good job of transferring the brand over to other entities who bought the entity, and then she got mad, and this happened with the tablets that you drink, and bought the company back because they were running it really slow. So now she runs it again with her board, right? But they did an excellent job of, it was a referral, right, based platform, so it works really well with them. What's the name of the it was invented by the teacher? You plop them in the water and you drink them. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, they're supposed to prevent you from getting sick. And she sold the business and they ran it into the ground. So she
Emergency?
bought it back. What is it called?
Emergency? Something
I
like,
think,
or similar?
I think it's similar to that, but she did a really good job of branding and then being able to come back, even though it wasn't her name. But Angie's List is a good example of how you can build the brand and sell the brand as an entity, the whole package, where you want to make sure that you're not just, I'm a single entity and this is me and myself and this is what I'm doing. You're going to be Alexandria's Cleaning and you're going to have a crew of 50 and you're going to do whatever you do in 5 locations. And you can start to see some people are starting to market to other markets, right? There's several people I can think of off the top of my head who are working 2 or 3 states right now, where I only cover my state. I haven't even ventured into another, crossing the border, because the laws are different. So you need to be really proficient in what you're doing, especially if you have W-2 versus 1099. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Any other questions?
I want to expand outside of my county.
Okay, you can do that.
And God, even the thought of that just makes me nervous, because I'm trying to figure out how to get exposure in another part of my county, because my county is
Huge. You
it's
live in a big
the
county.
biggest county in California, but it's the less it's not populated. I mean, we live out here. When we talk rural, we're rural. And so, I mean, 2-3 hours away could be, and I'm trying to get my foot in the door, outside of this county, and let alone over into another area inside my county. So that is something that I've been tossing around.
Awesome. I love hearing that. Expansion is good as long as it's controlled. It's when you expand and it's all trial by fire and nobody likes it.
And that's what I feel like I'm doing. Trial by fire.
Casey,
I've learned it all in the year and a half that I've learned it all. 1099s to work comp claim, garnishments, claiming unemployment. We've done it all.
Yeah, you had an injury, a pretty bad injury too, on the job.
Had a pretty bad. I was there. I witnessed the whole thing, and thank goodness I was covered. I mean, we were covered. And she was so cute. I mean, she was really trying. Like, here, I don't even have time to take my shirt off, so I can't. So I don't know what to do. And I was like, this is why we have insurance. Quit. Like, quit.
Right. You still don't have that client, do you?
Quit. You're not protecting me. It's okay. So my rates have really, because of course we're in California and we know California loves their taxes. And
totally.
And I'm a new business. I'm under 3 years old. So, and I have a claim. So my insurance just went through the roof.
Right. And you probably are going to be required to have safety meetings at least monthly now, which will help keep your rates low and make sure they sign in case you're ever audited. And then your training piece. And then when you get your training piece and they finish that part of the safety training, they need to sign off on it. That way it'll cover your butt. God forbid something else happened. But that was a freak accident on a 90-degree pitch stair set. That house was jinxed anyway. I don't think you still have that house, do you?
No.
Yeah,
no.
that was
No.
Sometimes if it starts off bad, it ends up being bad all the way through.
Pause.
Right.
Yeah. That house was very jinxed. My sister lives over in Colorado, in Grand Junction.
Oh, very cool.
So that's an idea that I've tossed around a little bit with her. And she goes, oh, I couldn't clean. I was like, well, I wasn't asking you to clean. I was just seeing what you thought. Tiptoeing around that whole situation.
Yeah, we can
She
talk
knows
ear
how
to
to
ear about
hire.
that?
She works at a bank. She
Okay.
worked at the country club for like well over 10 years. And now she works at a bank. So,
That's
and I
quite a
just
transition.
thought, yeah, it's very, yeah. Well, she got pregnant and then her, you know, she got burnt out, you know, and then wanted to be a mom like we all do. I was like, well, this is perfect for you then. This would be perfect. You could still be home, mom. Just pick up the phone. Need cleanings? Cool. You do some hiring and we'll talk later about that. So
Yeah,
this
no,
is the idea that I've been tossing.
definitely.
And
And
I
there's
mean, like,
several of
people
you.
do it. Like, why couldn't I?
Right. And I think that it's actually a doable thing. And there's just steps that you have to follow. Definitely.
Yeah, that's just the thought. I felt like if I said it out loud to everybody, that, you know,
We're gonna hold you to it.
I know people are that, you know, the eyes are on, and it'll pressure me to take some kind of action because we got all those eyes on us.
Definitely. Now, Casey, you've just restarted your business, right?
Yep.
And are you out working yourself or are you having helpers?
At the moment, I'm doing it myself. I'm trying to build up at least like part-time hours, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hire basically as soon as possible. I'm all about getting right back to having employees, having them take it over, but I just kind of need some hours to offer to start with. So that's where I'm
Definitely.
at.
And you're gonna have full official W-2s, or are you gonna do the
Yep.
1099 miles? You're gonna do
W-2s.
W-2s?
Yeah.
You have way more control with W-2s versus 1099s. That is for sure. Like, you know, I only run 1099, so if they decide that they're not coming in, I'm like, there's nothing I can say. This sucks.
Yeah.
I can say people are more forgiving than they have ever been in the past. If you blundered it and you missed, like you had a misstep, the client would just fire you right off the bat. But now everyone's like, it's okay. I'm like, thanks for understanding. It's been kind of crazy, definitely. How has been advertisement with you guys? I've had a lot of interesting little nuances with advertising this year. Like for a long time, most of the year, I've been spending about $2,000 on Google certified, and it's either hit or miss. So next month, I'm not going to pay my guy who runs my ad for me, and I'm going to scale back my Google certified because I don't really think that I'm getting I'm not getting any ROI out of it. I'm spending $2,000. I'm getting like 2 or 3 leads out of it, which doesn't cover the $2,000 cost. So it's and they're shoppers. There's lots of shoppers this year where normally they're like committed and they want impeccable service. Now everyone wants partial house cleanings or weird requests. I just want my bathrooms done. I'm like, how bad are they?
Yes.
When was the last time you cleaned those bathrooms, right?
I actually get that often with the bathrooms. People, and I'm like, you walk in there and some like there was a shower. I was just like, oh my God. It kind of needed to be bulldozed and remade.
It's
bad.
It's always interesting how long people will let it go before they're like, I think I should have it cleaned. And I'm like, oh my God, you shouldn't be touching it. Your feet should not be touching this.
So do you guys remember whenever I don't know if I posted it into our group chat or not, but I did something with Google Ads. And I said, have you heard of it? It's called, what's the chamber? Google Ads. The next, I opted in for performance boosting recommendations. So they're doing all my boosting and whatnot for me. I have noticed a little influx of forms processors that are coming through on my website. Let me tell you what the program is. It's a new program.
Keep talking. I got to go upstairs real quick. I'll
Okay.
be right back.
No, it's fine. Oh, I just want to know if you guys have heard anything about this. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking through my emails. my performance ads. Okay, wait. The next level of performance boost, yeah, customize it. Gosh, it's a new program and I can't find it. Auto apply recommendations. Here it is. Okay, this feature has been activated. So your features, Google Ads recommendations are being applied to your account. What to expect. A list of personalized Google Ads recommendations will be continuously applied to your account. Account admins, standard users will start receiving a weekly report, which I always get the and your optimization score.
And this is through Google Certified?
This is through Google Ads, just Google Ads.
The hardest part with Google Ads is getting the keywords just right.
They're doing it for me.
How much are you paying?
I'm interested in seeing one. I put it on max for especially for my area. I put everything on max. Like I said, I just did this. It looks like August 3rd.
Okay.
So I've had through that my performance for this area. So 84 interactions where people have called or clicked my website, all that. I just wanted to know if anybody in here knew a little bit more about how to. I'm just learning about SEOs and optimizing and
so when you have the Google Ads, my experience is you're going to get a lot of interactions. What you want is the phone call or them to book on your website. So you have to make sure that your funnel on your website, like your booking form, everything leads into and just perfect. It's like a sales page, right? As far as getting the phone call, they won't come out and tell you this, but it has been my experience. It's usually 1 to 5% of all of your interactions will actually call you. So you need to make sure that when you, even when you're out in the field, hopefully, I know some areas don't have cell service, that you're answering your phone and that you're ready to take the call. Don't not take the call because you're paying for each one of those leads. So if you have 81 interactions, right, or 80, what was it, 84?
Well, okay, so yeah.
84 times, let's go high, 5%. So 4.2 of those.
So this was only 3 days after I did that.
Okay. So you should get like hypothetically 4.2 calls and more than likely you'll close 1 or 2 of them is the ideal spectrum, but it doesn't mean your area might be a little bit different. That's just been my experience.
Yeah. No, this area, because you got people that'll call from way out and say like Blue Lake, which is a 3-hour drive from me, same county, and I'm just like, oh, let me get you a different phone number.
Definitely. Ladies, Chastity and Brandy, if you'd like to introduce yourself really quick.
Good morning.
Good morning,
everyone. Thank you so much for this meeting. I was looking forward to it and I took a call that ran longer. So I apologize for popping in late, but I did not want to miss it. I am in Texas. I am north of Austin, about an hour north of Austin. Kind of in a small town, but not so much. My company is Life Made Easy. Started during COVID. I was one of those that lost my job, single parent, needed to do something so that I could pay my bills. And right now, what's happening with my business is I've been running it solo with employees off and on. This is all kind of like throw the spaghetti against the wall and see if it sticks situation for me. But I need to just kind of narrow down employees and what I'm doing as far as payroll and taxes. And so my goal with this pivot, because I learned about the commodity rule. And I'm one of those people where, like back in the day, before the business, well, let's say being an entrepreneur, it really matures you.
It does. You
Yes.
grow a lot.
Yes. Where I hate to say like a ratchet personality, but I was just like, some things I just had to let someone know. But now it's like, okay, how can I fix this? Or how can I calmly do this? And so it's just definitely matured me and my personality. But the commodity rule that I learned 2 weeks ago, and it was, if you're charging $150 and someone comes in behind you and they're charging $130. And so I've kind of had to sit with what's happening in my environment. And that is just with inflation in Austin, it's so expensive to live here. And so everyone wants to, well, not I would say everyone, but there have been a lot of people who have come in and said, I'm going to start a cleaning company and I'm just going to clean on site and make some money, and they'll do it at the lowest possible rate. And it's just like,
Good
it's a
luck.
lot. Yes, exactly. Yes, it is a lot of competition, but the mature side of me knows that the people that are taking them on, for one, they're kind of getting a watered down version of a cleaner. And also, that's not my client. My client is the client that values my service and pays what I ask and pays it on time and doesn't complain, a whole lot. I mean, obviously there is feedback. I'm being realistic, but, someone that values me and my company and my purpose. And my income has dropped quite a bit, not because of me or my service. I've had I've had clients go through major transitions in their life, like a lot of loss, let's say that. And where I would have freaked out originally years ago, and I'll make this quick because I know y'all got to go. But I would have freaked out. I was just like, maybe this is a time for me to sit down and just enjoy this downtime and do that pivot to really regroup. And so I still use paper calendars. And like I go to the Dollar Tree and I buy those desk calendars because I love those and I like writing. And my son hates it. So he's like, Mom, you got to put everything in Google Docs. And I'm just like, yeah, you can, this 20-year-old, you can stop. So he puts everything in Google Doc and I write it on a little calendar. Well, I highlight the spaces that I have open for work. And 2 months ago, I had like 20 spaces open and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So it made me realize that I had the space open because I needed to focus on removing myself from cleaning and start hiring and putting people in those positions. And so I started taking those steps slowly and a little afraid, let's say. But
it gives you anxiety.
Well.
It's totally normal.
Absolutely. And it's going good. Jamie mentioned Google. I have been paying for Google and I don't like it. I don't like it because I don't understand it. And I don't really have time to research it enough to really invest in it the way I should. So at this point, I am not paying $600 because that's around the plan they have me on. I'm not paying that to potentially get leads. All of my leads right now come from Nextdoor. They are amazing clients. And I found that I need to stop. I was doing that commodity thing that I was talking about on Facebook when someone says, does anyone know a cleaner? And it's like 40 people that comment. And it's just like, I put my information there and it's just like, it kind of sucks that feeling. You're like, yeah, I know they're not going to call. So what I'm focusing on is people that actually call me and people that want to take that time and have that 10 or 15 minute conversation and schedule a walk through with me. And then let me go over, here's what you get when you come with Life Made Easy. We don't overbook. we focus on giving you more value for your service. We also do, I have a newsletter that I put out every month, and it's just tidbits on, because I like writing and I like just kind of getting the thoughts out of my head. But it's like tips and tricks for cleaning, things to buy for your house, because I also like shopping. And then my clients, because I do charge a little more for everyone else, the new people, I do gift baskets for them, welcome gift baskets. And then I have referral cards in there, and bath and body, like candles and hand soaps and things like that for them. So it talks about that. And then I do raffles, like referral raffles. So they'll get like a restaurant gift card or a bath and body gift card if they, do a certain number of referrals for the month. And the
How do you
pivot
do
has been
your
nice.
emails? How do you do your emails? Are you doing email blasts or?
No, I'm still a paper and pen person. Like I say, I like writing, so I write everything down. And honestly, with my emails, once I click on, like I just started A, and then all of my clients with the name A pops up. I just click on them, and then I go to B. And so with me, I have way less clients than everyone else because I charge more. And
that's okay.
Absolutely. And, I learned, just for hypothetical numbers, that if there are 3 credit cards, there's Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. So Visa and MasterCard, let's say, average 200 customers, but American Express only has 30 customers. But American Express makes, 400 times Visa and MasterCard, what Visa and MasterCard make in total.
And you pay it off at the end of the month.
Yes, exactly. So I'm kind of in that category where, people are like, oh, I make $4,000 or $5,000, but they have 100 clients. And me, it's like, okay, in 4,000 or 5,000 clients, I have 8 that do that,
Right.
So that's kind of the rule that I've been applying. So myself and the people that I have on staff, we work a lot less than everyone else. But we also, kind of do a little more detail with our cleans, and we specialize in everything. Like we pack, we unpack for clients. Like we know their houses. We take care of them and their families. I actually had a client who was going on vacation, and she came home just to pick up luggage. And she's like, oh my God, my mom is at the hospital. And I'm like, don't worry about it. Go on your vacation. I'll take care of the dog for you, and I'll go pick up your mom from the hospital and take her home for you. Like we do that kind of stuff.
So
and they pay
you have
us.
a concierge service for that. That's
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we take care of our families. We know them very well. They know me. They know my family, and it's very personalized. So it's really just right now finding the clients that understand the value of it, and that's kind of what they want. My question in all of this is, I say that because I know that these things can help someone. It's something that someone else might be going through, or they may, we're all going through the same thing. So my question is, it is about the onboarding process. I'm so torn on how I can make this like run itself. Like, what are you all using to like track your employees? And then also something that the clients can see, because I send those text messages manually. I track time manually. And I mean, it's like a runaway freight train at this point.
Get Jobber.
Okay. Okay.
I've had them almost since the beginning, and it's a time saver. It really, I used to have to call like 60 homes the night before. This is Shannon with Castle Keeper Cleaning, and just calling to remind you of your scheduled cleaning appointment at blah, 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 blah. It would take like a whole hour and a half. And then you have text messages, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to, I know you like pen and paper, and I totally get that. But once you progress on to a platform like GetJobber, it's a time saver and it's an asset. I would never go without it now. And that's how I run I have crews down in Tucson. I have people up in Flag. I have a couple in Sedona.
Wow.
And it's easy. It makes it easier. You're not thinking about it. Everybody knows what their schedule is. They can't say, oh, I didn't get the text message. I'm sorry I didn't show up for this client.
Yes.
I know that the price has increased. I have a grandfathered in price because
Nice.
I've had them since the beginning. But well worth your time. I'm actually getting ready to have a booking form, which they're still in the beta testing. So we've been back and forth over that because I want to have a booking form on my website. I probably am one of the last cleaning companies that still doesn't have a booking
Yeah.
form. I'm like, I should probably, because you can sell 24 hours if you think about why you need a booking form, right? Instead of waiting for them for you to open like the traditional method and calling you, you could sell and then do a quick follow-up to make sure they purchase the right package. But yeah, get Jobber. Jamie has a link. I have a link. If you want either one of those, reach out.
Okay. Yeah, that would definitely help with that. And do they do because I did sign up with Paychecks to do my onboarding. Do I still need Paychecks or do I just use Jobber? Paychecks is payroll though.
Paychecks is payroll. I do all of my onboarding through DocuSign.
Okay.
Because I have 1099s, I don't have actual W-2s.
Onboarding.
Who has?
Oops.
Gusto. Gusto has a great onboarding and hiring process.
They're pretty economical too.
I used to have, yes. I used to have, I will tell you this though, I used to have ADP and they have all the bells and whistles, but I was paying $100 a week for them. So I couldn't afford $400 a month, right?
Yeah.
You do see the difference between a $400 a month place versus a place $80 plus 12. I think it's 12 or 9, something like that. 9
it's per
or
employee.
12 per employee.
Yeah, so there's a base price.
They do have super user friendly, and they just walk you through the whole process.
Okay.
Jobber, if you need any help with that, let me know, because I went from what you're doing to all digital. And it's a very infuriating and frustrating and time consuming
initially
thing. So, but yeah, so if you need any help, let me know. I've been there. I've been right where you're at in your shoes, just not even that long ago. So I can help you.
Okay. Thank you.
But Gusto is great. Look into them. ADP. I also used, I think, Sure Payroll. Yeah, I've used 3 different payroll companies, and I won't be doing that never again.
Yeah.
Especially for tax time. Like, what am I doing?
Yes.
I'm just trying to figure out how to do this, whenever you grow like this, it's crazy, so it's like, oh, okay, I'll go there. Oh, I'll go there. Oh, wait, here.
Yeah, it is.
The automation piece is really expensive. I'm sorry?
Instead of listening.
Who is expensive?
ADP.
ADP was expensive.
Yeah.
But when you have automation, it does make things easier, but it can be expensive, especially when you automate with 9 different items. They still haven't made a universal one. And if they do, then they charge like $900. I'm like, that's just ridiculous that you guys do that. It just, you have to go either with 9 different companies or have one that has all 9 products, but it's the same price. I'm like, what's the point?
Yes. Yeah, Paychecks charges $20 a week for payroll, and then each employee that you add, it's an additional $1.33. So it's very affordable.
That makes it nice.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I could be missing something. If I find that it's not working, then yes, QuickBooks will be the switch over. And then I'll look at Gusto and see how that goes. But yes, standing on my 2 feet and not getting caught up in the competition, because there's so many, like, they're building so much by me, and there's so many homes that need to be cleaned, and so yeah, that's all.
And then Chastity says that she hasn't been able to chat. She's currently working with her sister, which is totally fine. I'm personally licensed and insured and working on getting getting evening and weekend appointments to fill time slots. I want to clean more commercial businesses, currently cleaning residential and short-term rentals. So Chastity, what is your question? I know that weren't you the one that had the issue with your sister, with you branching out on your own on your schedule? I don't quite remember the whole story. And I'm not trying to drug up drama or anything. And I don't know if your sister is in the group and I forget. So if you can't answer, I totally get it. But I'm just trying to see what exactly your question is for us so that we can get it answered for you. But yeah, payroll is a big deal. You could either do it by hand or have a company do it. And that's of course my husband, even though I told him I'm having a call, he never listens to anything that I say. You know how husbands are. 20 years with a man and he still doesn't listen to anything I say. I'm like, whatever. So yeah, make sure that you are selecting the automation piece that works best for you, and definitely shop around. It is a pain in the butt once you find a digital calendar system you like to download and then re-upload and populate your client list. Like with Jobber, I've had them so long, I have almost 1,000 names in there. And if I had to hand enter them in, that could take days. It's not only is it tedious and I would hate to do it, it would just take days of trying to do it, because sometimes you can download it and it will work and then sometimes it won't. So once they have you hooked in, that's it. You're committed for life until you stop. Any other questions?
Not a question, but I have a statement.
Sure.
Of course. Does anybody in here use Square for payments?
They've been having issues the last couple days, I've heard. Have you guys been having issues with it?
They definitely have issues, and I'm just letting you guys know that they sent me an email saying that all transfers are free today.
Oh.
I'll transfer they're not charging any. I just let you guys know that they're not charging anything today.
Yeah,
so.
I believe it's like day 5 of some sort of glitch they've had. Thankfully, I don't use Square very often. I use Stripe and I use QuickBooks. So that's been really nice. Okay, so Chastity saying, yes, that's me. She's in the group, so it's really hard. My issue is I'm a single parent, so going out on my own is kind of hard and been slow. Well, there has to be a plan and a course of action. So it says you want commercial. So if commercial works best for you initially, by all means, there's a lot of in-person networking that happens with commercial. You can also become friends with people on LinkedIn, but once you become friends with somebody on LinkedIn, you can't hit them up right away. You have to establish a relationship, like their posts. There's a whole protocol you have to follow. It's like saying, I want to be on your podcast. That's a no-no. You have to apply to be on the podcast to see if you're a good fit, if they like you, if you're going to benefit them. So because I'm guilty of doing that myself. I'm like, I want to be on your podcast. I'm like, you can't do it that way. So, what is the rate for commercial? There's so many different variances with commercial, and you have to remember there's like 5 different types of building, right? There's Google, which is A. Then there's regular commercial, and Google buildings are like what I'm talking about: glass, mirror, lots of fingerprints opportunities. So and lots of open spaces. So it's going to be a little different than a traditional office. Then there's manufacturing, there's medical, there's warehouse, there's all these different types of. Then there's small, older converted houses that used to be residential that are now commercial. So it just it depends on entirely. For example, car dealerships. Car dealerships never allow for the line item for cleaning. They always find somebody who's willing to work for $10 an hour, 7 days a week, and then they realize that they're getting underpaid, and then they start doing a crappy job until they get fired, right? They never want to allocate the money for it. It's really frustrating. So you have to go out with your business card and your flyers when you're out in your free time, and leave those flyers. And then on a Friday morning, show up with donuts or a gift card or whatever you can afford in your budget. I'm not saying, break the bank, but you need to start establishing relationships, joining the Chamber of Commerce. Jamie has come a long ways from when she first joined the Chamber of I can't even talk, Junior Chamber of Commerce. And it's by the area. And you can usually go to a Junior Chamber of Commerce at least twice for free. And how you do that is you say, I'm interested in joining, but I want to try it out. they'll usually let you go twice before they're like, hey, you can't go a third time unless you pay. And then bring your cards and start to market, right? Some people even have food and beverage there. Some people don't. If you give away a gift card, a $50 gift card, they give you 15 minutes to talk in some instances. There's lots of opportunity. If you're really shy, joining a BNI group is really wonderful, but it can be expensive. It's usually a $600 to $1,000 expense.
Mhm.
And, you know, not everyone has a grand, and they won't take payments with BNI. I've actually never been part of one, because you guys can hear me talk all the time. I'm totally comfortable doing my thing, right? But if you're not comfortable, they will help you come up with an elevator speech, and each person in the group is responsible for referring you. They get points. So there's pressure on that too. So if you're not that type of person, don't join. And then there's breakfast that you have to pay, and it seems a little, you know, so you decide. It's a commitment usually early in the morning, and it's sometimes it's not kid friendly. I couldn't join a BNI group that met at 7 a.m. I have kid drop off at 8:15. There's no way. What do I do with them for the hour, right? So sometimes it's not mom friendly. I hope that answers your question, Chastity, but that's what you have to start building relationships, and you have to build a LinkedIn page, one for your personal and one for your business, and put commercial cleaning in there and start doing posts. Commercial cleaning business owners are more on LinkedIn, and you're looking to friend people who own buildings or other large businesses that you can start to maybe reach out to. Any other questions? Silence.
So I kind of have one.
Sure.
I don't know if you've ever done this type of marketing, but I'm gonna probably try out attending events as like a vendor. And so I have one coming up. I kind of got in on the tail end of it, and it sounds like they're really crowding in a lot of people. So I'm gonna get like maybe a third to a half a table. So I've got a tiny space. And do you have anything you recommend to help grab people's attention, or giveaway items, or anything
Right.
that you would be making the most of the opportunity?
Do you have someone that you know who has a spin the wheel?
I don't, but I'm not opposed to ordering one.
Okay, so you can get a spin to wheel, and you can put spin to wheel. You can have one free cleaning on there, or $100 off your cleaning. And then you can, when they have to, in order to spin the wheel, they have to give you their name and their email address. And then that way you're at least recouping some of those costs for the booth and the spin the wheel and the whole deal. But yeah, that's usually the easiest way. And then people will, you know, people are looking for free items. You might have seen the post where my littlest, who's 7, won the plunger. And it wasn't a big deal until I made it a big deal. And he was like, he still has this plunger. It's unused, brand new, that he won off the spin the wheel. And he still talks about it to this day. Now, granted, my 7-year-old is
Aw.
not going to be your demographic, but if I was his parent, I'd be like, oh my God, you won. Because I was like, oh, right. So he walks around with it, and he puts it, you know, in different spots, and he likes the, you know, plungy sound. It's a plunger, right? It came from a plumber who we did the home show route. But those are what I would offer. That way you're not coming out with any hard costs initially, especially since it's last minute. And then when if you give out like 4 or 5 free cleanings or $100 off, and they come in, stagger them on your schedule, so you're not getting all 4 of them in 1 month, and you're not taking a $400 hit, especially when you're just starting to get things going again.
Oh, thanks.
Any other questions?
Yes. So I am going the contractor route, and I really like it. So with my next door ad, I used to run it just in like my city and like 2 surroundings cities, but now I'm doing pretty much all of Texas. What do you advise when, because obviously I can't like drive always, 45 minutes or an hour to do a walkthrough, and then also sending someone. Do you have a lesson for that I could like, because I've been buying them individually, my lessons.
Right. So basically,
something for that.
When you learning how to bid over the phone is probably one of the more crucial time savers you can learn. You have less likely of a chance, if you're new and you don't know how to sell, doing an over the phone bid. when you talk to me, I'm like a walking encyclopedia. People just know based on what I'm saying. Like when I say we've done 7,500 move out cleanings, people are like, right, what can they say? They can't argue price. I've just said I've done 7,500 of them. So you have there's a list that you can make up on an intake sheet or over the phone bid sheet, and you just, you know, ask them, you know, what their name is. You introduce yourself. My name is Shannon. I'm actually the owner. Like, oh my God, I got the owner, right? And then it becomes like, oh, you know, how long? My first question, speaking of area, is because there's 5 Prescotts in the United States. I'm like, and if they call and they don't have an area code, I'm like, what part of town are you living in? Because, and then they go, I'm living here in Prescott. I go, so you're living here in Prescott, Arizona? Because there are 5 different Prescotts. Right, because Prescott, I forget his first name, was actually in with the Bushes, and he has a long political history, and there's all this whole dynamic, right? So I have to make sure that I'm gonna service someone who's in my state. I don't want to go through the whole intake form and then realize that they're not in my area, and that I have, you know, then I have to end up referring them, and I still get a little bit of a off of it, but it's just a pain in the butt. I'm like, I want, you know. So you have to have an intake form, and then you do it, and then if you can't initially. If you're not comfortable with that because it's sight unseen, you can have them, if they have an iPhone, you can FaceTime them, and then they can show you key points. But all of my bidding is based on variances. So when I give a price, hypothetically speaking, for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, it's going to be 177.25 to 192.87. I always make up a weird rounded end up number on the end because it makes them think that I've calculated whatever it was in my head. Has nothing to do with anything but just psychology.
Yes.
So, and then when you get there, the cleaning tech has to call you. Hey, when you arrive on, because I've not seen this one, it's sight unseen. Can you give me a call after you walk it? You have to train your cleaning techs to know what to look for.
Okay.
After, and then if they short themselves, it's on them.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yes.
you want to make sure, or you have to renegotiate, which I've had to do. I'm really good at renegotiating. You know, sometimes the poor cleaning tech's on the other end sniveling because they blundered it and they don't want to eat all this money. So I'm like, let me see if I can add more money to this thing. So then you give them a range. And I always, and this is talked about inside the structure, scale, and profit, but you can always go higher or lower. Once in a while, you'll have a house and you're like, and they're going, because you're looking for dirt. I'm like, do you live here full time?
Yes.
Right. But it's usually a second home, or they really do live there full time. But 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go with the highest rate. And the reason for that is because I want to make as much money off every single job. Now, as we start to feel the crush of inflation, we're going to start to feel more and more of the pinch. So like for example, the other day, I had a client who was with me for over 13 years, suddenly just dropped right off the schedule. I felt like I went through a divorce. I was like, you know what I mean? Unexpected, unprompted. I'm like, was it quality? Was it, you know, she's like, no, I just have a lot going on. They're going to do some remodeling in her home and it was just going to be too hard. But just abruptly, no lead in, nothing. I was like, whoa. But it happens. So that's how I do the over the phone hypothetical. There's more steps involved, but that's a generalization on how to get the basis of what you're doing. You always give a range, a flat rate price based on your hourly intake of whatever that is.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Also, yes, that makes a lot of sense. And that I can do because I actually have a Zoom set up on my website and people can go on and book a consultation. It's like 15 minutes. It says it's free, but they have to put their information in. So that would be a good idea just to utilize that. And
gas is going back up. I mean, I loaded up my truck and it was $110. I'm like, this blows.
Wow.
Well, we have a big V8 for the boat, but I hate when it's my turn.
It is.
Any other questions?
No.
So Chastity, the going rate for commercial is whatever you build it in at. So commercial, the production rate for commercial is anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 square feet in an hour is what the normal is. So that should give you some sort of basis on what your production rate would be when you start commercial rate. So if you can do 1,000 to 3,000 square feet in an hour, you should hypothetically be billing them in at, you know, at least $50 an hour. So if it was a 3,000 square foot thing and you could only do 1,000 square feet, so then it would be $1.50. I hope that kind of makes sense. For generalization, there's so many different variations on what needs to happen in commercial. Any other questions?
I do have a question.
Okay.
How you guys are talking about like those houses, like I have a lady that reached out for a quote. She wanted her whole house done initially, but it's a second home, so it's of course it's not that bad. But I told her the lowest that I can give her my minimum, which is 200 for a deep clean. And she still wasn't okay with that. And I'm just wondering how you can sell to people like that. Because I have been in a lot of houses where it's really clean.
Right. And
Really
that's the
clean,
minimum
but you
charge
still
for
have to
you
make
to
money,
reserve
so.
the spot on your schedule. Does that make sense? So if $200 is your starting point for you
Yes.
to get up and go over to the house to start the job, it is what it is. She can either afford it or she can't. And if she can't afford $200 for a cleaning or a deep cleaning, then she can't afford the regular deep cleaning rate. And mine's billed in separately. So I have a starting price for deep top to bottom deluxe cleaning start at $300. Sometimes they start at $350, but most of the time that's the starting billing rate. And then I add on from there. That's just to show up, walk the job and start it. And I've already taken a deposit. So there's no questions asked. That way they can't go at the last minute and slam the door in my face. And then when I say, okay, it's going to be $575 because I've already taken the deposit. If they shut the door in my face, hypothetically, if I was cleaning, then I get to keep the deposit because it's a show up fee, right? These are why I have all of these different levels in my contracts to make sure that my cleaning tech still gets paid, right? And it's unpleasant to have the door slammed in your face and your feelings get hurt. And there's all kinds of weird emotions about that.
And how do you pay your if that does happen, how do you pay them?
If I've already taken a deposit, I pay the cleaning tech whatever I was going to pay them. That's not their fault that they didn't get to work. That's why I take the deposit. And then whatever's left over, the house takes. So if they know for the most part that top to bottoms are going to be a minimum of 4 hours of work. And this is also an encouragement too for when you get a crew, right? To like, they don't want to come in and do a deep cleaning for an hour when you have a team of 4, right? They want to be able to earn some money off of it. So if it's an automatic given that it's going to be 4 hours of work at $30 an hour, they know they automatically get $120 at $30 an hour, right? It's the same deal with the other things as well. If they usually with the residential, if I blunder it on accident, and I did have that happen the other day, I caught the cleaning tech before he arrived, and it was the person called me to let me know 24 hours. So it wasn't a 48-hour thing, but I let her slide because she's 87. And she was getting ready to, they were going to pick her up by ambulance and take her to the hospital. Oh, by the way, you owe me, right? So it's like, so there was a gray area. So I ended up paying him an hour of his time, and he's just going to add it in when he submits to me his next request for payment. So that way that they are still being compensated to some degree for whatever effort they have put in. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, the minimum has to be a minimum charge. So, and I'm billing, you know me, I'm always about the national averages, what it currently is and where you're located and all that other stuff. So if you have a $300 starting charge for top to bottom deluxe cleaning and you're charging $50 an hour, how many hours is that, right? So 300 divided into 50, so that's 6 hours. So you're still making 2 hours of whatever off of that. If you've gotten, so you're covered. So if your cleaning tech in there is slow, you've got 6 hours of labor in there. And if they need more time, then you need to renegotiate. That's why when they arrive, I have them call me. And then I call them partway through and say, hey, how's it going? They're like, oh. So then at that point, I know I need to renegotiate the price. Sometimes they can tell right away. And then halfway through, I'm like, I haven't heard from them. Hey, I'm just calling to check in. How is it? And then they'll tell you how it really is. They always do. Any other questions? We're going to take 2 more questions and then we're going to get going because I don't want to take up your whole Saturday.
I have a question real quick. Do you prefer solos or doubles for sending crew?
If you're going to do 1099s, you technically legally can't have 2 W-2s work the job, because if you have an issue with someone breaking something, they're going to point the fingers at everybody. Right? That's why you need to make sure your 1099s are insured. And then if they do work a large project together, I give them specified areas that they are to do, and that's it. So that way it's split evenly, because there'll always be you're going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then if there's an issue with breakage or something, then you were in the master, what happened? And they can't say, I didn't do it, right? So you technically can't, it's a huge gray area. So make sure that you are following your gut, because you don't want to have an issue and have someone break someone's $1,500 shower door.
Good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you need to make sure that your 1099s have insurance. There's a whole thing, and I'm a really big advocate for having insurance, because you just don't know when something's going to happen, right? I mean, Jamie came on earlier and basically said that she was walking down a 90-degree pitch on staircase. Her employee was, I believe, walking behind her or before her. She tripped and fell and broke her ankle, and she had to go to the ER, had to have emergency surgery. I mean, it was a huge thing for this poor girl who just misstepped right on the stairs. So you just never know. And then in some states, you have to have a workman's comp waiver if you have 1099. So make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. All my 1099s have to show me proof of insurance. I have their driver's license, emergency contact, Google certified guarantee. There's a whole list of stuff that they need to follow before I'll even take them on. Because if you don't have insurance, you don't have any skin in the game, and I'm not going to bother, because you're going to learn a ton of stuff off of me. So you need to be able to, this is all about professionalism, right? Chastity is saying, I'm a 1099, have my insurance through Next. Yeah, Next is pretty cheap. I picked up insurance because I was still doing in-person cleaning tech training. And I think I went through American Family, and it was like $400. It was pretty, just because I didn't want to take a chance.
You said it's
Last
American
question.
Family?
I'm sorry?
You said it's American Family?
American Family Insurance. They're a larger entity that has little franchises they have sold.
Okay.
But they're usually pretty cheap compared to the other large entities. And if you ever have an issue, you usually get a person, not just a computer and an email.
Nice.
Which I like.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, nothing worse than calling and you have to go through the automated voice system, and it's a mess. Yeah, we have to go through a computer or wait for a response through an email. Right.
And my house is loud. I have 37 birds. So oftentimes when they're saying, well, just answer the question, they're like, please repeat your answer. Please repeat your answer. I'm like, it's not quiet enough to do this. So and then finally it picks it over. Yeah, I have 37. I'm working on getting rid of the cockatiels. It's just too many. I want to start focusing on other things. We have 2 permanent air filters that run that get changed out with rotation to keep all the pet dander out. But you could there's snow all the way. You can just like this. Our house is so hard clean. Everyone looks at me and goes, oh.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have a husband, two little kids, 37 birds, and 4 dogs. And my old man, who is 19, doesn't always make it outside. So I constantly am, looking at, did he pee here on accident? Because he's 19. So once he gets going, there's no stopping him. He's just got to go. Thank God we have mostly tile. But yeah. So that's what I would do, definitely. One last question? Anybody?
Take it. Oh, go.
With when you do the net 30 accounts, you know how sometimes they like to not pay on time. How do you handle paying your employees when it kind of it can put you in a really bad position? I just had that happen this week. It put me in a super bad position because they're a few weeks late on my payment.
They don't continue, and I've learned this the hard way. Unfortunately, there's a lot of reasons why people are in the position they're in. There's always a story. Hence the reason why I stopped taking doctors on. My very first commercial clients were all doctors. And then I ended up getting the houses, and doctors' wives are really neurotic and demanding and have a lot of issues. But what would happen is they would pull up in their brand new Ferrari, right? and they hadn't paid me, and I would just sit around going, and it was weekly, right? Because I had 15 doctor's offices. So weekly we would just hit all of the medical areas in my space. And finally I caught one of the doctors on the side and I said, hey, he goes, oh, this is way back when I was cleaning. I go, is everything okay with the cleaning? He goes, yeah, why? I go, you guys haven't paid me in like 4 months. And at that point, this bill is like $7,000, right? And he was mad because what had happened is I was with him with his first wife, and then he got the second wife, and she wasn't nice, and we didn't click. So she always did things. I never could prove it, but she always did things to make things unpleasant for me. So she would just stick it to me every time she got a chance. But when I ended up catching him, I ended up getting paid the following day because I had asked her, I go, I'm not going to do this anymore for you. You need to pay. But the policy is nobody goes over a certain price point, and they have to have a credit card on file. And if I have to charge their bill on the credit card, I'm adding a service fee of $250. And they have to sign that on the agreement. And then that way it covers me from waiting. And then some people accrue it by the day. You guys know me. I don't like to chase money. If I have to chase money from you, I'm going to make you pay. It's just how I am. It's a personality flaw in me. I totally get it, but I just don't like to chase money. So that's how I do that. You can have a service fee even higher, but they have to sign it. And then it's just like I have the dish policy, right? When they find out they have a cleaner coming, every single person in the office doesn't wash coffee mugs, and you walk in and there's 75 of them that have been sitting there since the last week, right? Or they leave plates, or they don't want to do, it's like you have a bunch of kids working in the office. So it's $35 per incident to do dishes. So if you have 4 loads, it's $35 times 4, right? Or if they don't have paper towels, or you're responsible for paper, plastic, liquid, and I can't remember what the other one is. For the commercial, and you're supplying it, you have to have it in a locked closet that you only have a key, because what will happen, how many times do employees steal things? I'm going to take all the toilet paper home. I don't have to buy it. And then that comes out of your hard cost, right? I just learned these things along the way. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you need to call them up, get them on the phone, and say, I need to be paid. You're messing up my payroll. What's going on? Who do I have to talk to? And then do you have to add in a fee every time they're late? Every day. And if they just give you the runaround, then they don't get any more cleaning until they resolve their issue. I used to keep, like I said, I used to keep the credit card on file.
Okay.
For situations like that. Any other questions? One last one, and then we're going to get going because I don't want to take up your time.
It's not a question, but I think it was Casey that's doing the table. Real quick, the little bottles or travel size bottles of like hand sanitizer, or maybe I know Target has that bullseye section, the dollar section, or even Dollar Tree. Maybe do like dish gloves and like a sample dish packet or small bags to give away would be cute for your because I'm big on baskets and giving away stuff. And those are the kind of things that I buy to give to my clients.
Yeah, thanks for the idea.
Cool. Definitely a dollar store. All righty, ladies. It was good to chat. It was good to see you. Casey, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. Definitely some fun times. And we'll catch you guys soon. You take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.